Hi all, welcome to Beanie Composter. I did say this Hotbin composter would have its ups and downs, so I had it running quite well for the last month or so. Come and have a look now. It was sort of the green, it was middle of the green, but now we've gone, below the green. And I have noticed the last few times when I've opened it up, it smells worse than my arse. So that's a sign that it's maybe a bit wet. And I did, the last day I've collected probably, all this out of it, so that's not really healthy. Yesterday we, had a nice day. I took a bit of thatch out of the grass that we've got just to see if that would get it going. It had some moss in, but I think if anything that's probably made it worse. So today I'm gonna take as much out as possible, give it a good stir with some extra paper in, and see if we can get this back up into the green. So in the centre I've got air gaps there which I can fill, so I'm pretty sure that that's what's probably causing this. I mean, it's not soaking wet, but I think where it's just stopped working, it's gone a bit damp. So I'm going to add about a carrier's bag worth of paper, shredded paper that is, and just stir that in, because I think at the moment it's not wet, but I'd like to sort of eliminate any bad smells that we're getting, because even the missy says it's worse than me, and that's saying something. As I've said before, you don't need a gym membership when you've got one of these, and this is what I find one of the worst things about this, is you can have it going really well, and then all of a sudden, even though you're following what they say, it just suddenly stops. And like yesterday was quite a nice day, about 14 degrees, and today's pretty nice, so it should be, if anything, working better and better now. Anyway, I'm going to add all the old stuff that I've taken out of the top back in. And we'll just give that a go and see. There is a bit of heat still in there, so if it does start working again, it shouldn't take too long to come up to temperature. As you can see there, we're 3/4 full, so plenty of waste in that in there, so it should be working fine. And I've been putting like bulking agent and paper in there, so there's no reason, apart from maybe that air pocket, that it's gone so cold. But anyway, we'll give that a go, and then I'll let you know how we get on. So that's how I'm going to leave that for today. We'll give that a day or two and see if the temperature starts rising. If it doesn't, I'm going to have to go on YouTube and look at Beanie Composter to see how he gets his working again. But anyway, we'll see how this goes, and enjoy. I'll see you soon. 24 hours after we filmed the last one, we're still not in the green. I know that's not a lot of time, but I kind of thought it might have improved a little bit, so I'm gonna take off the hatch and see how we're looking behind the door. This hasn't been emptied since the first video I did, so we'll see how it's looking. And I think you'll agree, that's not looking bad. There's a few worms there, which is great. Probably up to there is is the fresh stuff, but that's quite compacted. That's really sort of good compost now, so that's ready to come out, and that's probably why we're not getting the temperature. I would say since the last emptying, I've probably put about 8 buckets like this full of stuff, plus probably a whole big massive bin liner of cardboard and paper, so loads has gone in there. And I think, you know, I'm going to take some out now, and we're going to see if the temperature goes up after that. So there you go, pretty good compost considering.
Considering what?
How long it's been in there. There are a few things that, you know, I've started shooting, such as these sort of things, but I think I did. This was like cold at one stage, so that would be why we've got that. It hasn't been running hot for the whole time. When I empty mine, I go from one side first. So I use the back of this prodder thing, which I find really good, just to get in there, and then right to the back. You're not going to damage your thing by just using that to scrape it out. And I don't really want to go any higher than that, because, you know, we've got the fresh stuff and that might all start collapsing soon. So once I've got one half out, I then check like for the air holes which are in here, and this tool fits perfectly, so you can just check that your air holes are not blocked. You know, they shouldn't be, you know, blocked, but it's a good time now while you're emptying it just to sort of put that thing down them and check. So once I'm happy, I start on the other side, and this is where we're going to probably have it collapse. So I just start at the front and drag a bit out. Don't worry about that, that's just a bone. So plenty of worms, which is a good thing if you wouldn't just this to sit in a bag and carry on over the summer, or if you're doing this at winter just to, you know, decompose your compost even further. We're going to collapse there, so normally I just grab as much out, holding it up. I just grab as much out as we can. And that's about the most we can get out at the moment. So it's all collapsing now, which this is why it can be a bit of a pain. So this paper there is like, I mixed some paper in there yesterday. You probably, if you're watching this video, you see that at the beginning. And then as it's collapsed a bit, I just take out, you know, bits and pieces that I know is well composted down onto the tray using this thing here, and it's going to go again. So I quickly just get, you know, the rest of that into here. Right, so we've gone now, and that's the time for me to, you know, say I've done my bit with getting as much as I can out, and now it's time to reintroduce all this back in. So we're at that stage there, so I just clear off, you know, push, take out that so I can clear this hatch. So this is a messy job, and this is probably what puts some people off of it. So the idea is just to try and get all this off before any more collapses, so we can get the actual hatchback door back on. But this needs to be nice and clean, which isn't easy when bits keep collapsing on it. And this may look a bit, you know, a pain in the arse and that, but you know, the compost you're getting within a few months is terrific. So try and bear with this, because it is worth, you know, worth pursuing. Okay, just a bit of patience required there. On the door lid, I normally scrape off, you know, all the stuff down the sides and make sure that's nice and there's no like bits of wood or, you know, bone or anything stuck on the sides there, because that you know, when you compress it all back together, it will damage your lid or hatch door. So bits keep falling down, so just be patient, wipe it all off, get it nice and clean. This is one reason why I wouldn't have it right by the house. Maybe if you've got the Mini it might be a bit easier to empty, but with these ones, make sure your hatch door is the right way up. Everything's nice and clear there, so I just gently push the hatch back on. So all this that's come out will be going back in the compost, because, you know, it's got bits of food in it, it's not 100% decomposed yet. You've got bits like some cardboard there which, you know, have gone into clumps, so that's maybe some reasons why we've got air's not getting through the compost, you know, like there. So things like that, sometimes where you get a clump, that can stop the airflow. So if you've got bits like that, you'll just need to break it up a bit. And then once your hatch door is nicely back on, just check, you know, ours has swollen out over time, but it's still a nice tight fit there. So I just open up inside, and I give it a good old stir up, because you've got that gap there now. So all the stuff that I've just been picking up from that fell down out of the top bit just goes back in. So everything's back in there now. I'll just give that one last stir up, make sure it's all nicely mixed. Today it's not smelling as bad, so I think, you know, it was quite smelly, so I can't really smell it too much today, so that putting that extra paper has really helped it. And one thing I do find with shredded paper is it can clump together quite quickly, so you need to make sure you stir it in quite well. So we've emptied quite a bit out there, and I'd say we're at just over that, you know, the door bit, which is where we want to be to keep the heat in there. So let's put the probe back in, and we'll come back later on and see how it's going and if that's sort of solved our heat issue. I'm hoping that, you know, the reason it probably went a bit smelly was because there's not enough air going through it, and if you haven't got the oxygen in there, then it tends to make it go anaerobic, which causes it to get smelly. So I'm hoping, you know, come back tomorrow and hopefully that dial's gone up a bit. We'll give you an update on this in a second. Back again, day 3, so what's that, 24 and 24, 72 hours after the first initial diagnosis of it going like down in temperature and starting to smell. We obviously emptied stuff out yesterday, and when I've come home today, we're, you know, almost back in the green. It's not cold. It was cold in the morning, but today, I mean, temperature of the, you know, weather was cold in the morning, but it's been quite sort of warmish during the day. So we're only just about up to the hatch there, so I think now I'm going to add some more waste and give that a good stir in. So I've got a bit of garden waste and a little bit of waste that I brought home from work, some trimmings and a bit of old bread and that. So I'm going to stick that in, and then we've got the food caddy from at home. By the way, I didn't cook that popcorn, that was the missus. If you want to see some proper cooking, you need to go to Beanie Chef, because that's where we do proper cooking. So you won't get burnt popcorn on the Beanie Chef, but you will if you come to our house and the missus cooks for you. But anyway, hopefully the Hotbinner loved that, so that's going in as well. Lots of eggshells. I always find if you break them right down, it really does help, sort of, you know, at the end process. So I always give them a good old crush up, and then I'm gonna put, you know, a good carrier bag's worth of shredded paper again. So I've got some bulking agent, which is just some, you know, shredded branches and, you know, bits and pieces, and then just found a slug in there, so the missus wants that put in there. So I'm hoping it's going to come up to temperature and cook that. And then just going to give that a good stir around. So that's all got a good stir around, and I'm pretty sure now we're going to be, you know, fine getting that, you know, back in the green. In terms of our, how do you say it, leachy, whichever, leachate. As you can see from here, we're not getting loads out at the moment. Before, you know, for a few days I got loads out, which isn't a good sign. So I think we're back at, you know, how we want to be for this time of year. So day 4 in the big brother house, I mean the hot composting house. We're back up to temperature, so ticking along nicely. Have we got that?
Yes.
So conclusion of it all is, I noticed it was starting to smell a bit, so that was a sure sign that we were sort of getting not enough air coming through for the chimney effect. So it started to go a bit stagnant. Lots of lychee or leachate, whatever one it's called, was coming out the bottom as I showed you. So I took out, you know, the stuff, and that sorted it out. So as these videos are about our you know, our experiences with the hot composting bin, you know, if you're experiencing this, hopefully it will help you. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.